Guys, we have an incredible guest on the show today. My friend, Andrew Pepper. Not only is he an incredible real estate agent, incredible human being, awesome man of God, but he does incredible things to give back to his community and to those that are around him. And you definitely don't want to miss this one. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Justin Ford podcast, where I'll be releasing life-changing principles and valuable information focused on all things faith, finance, family, fitness, real estate, and so much more. Let's go! What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Justin Ford podcast. I'm super excited to be with you here again today for another episode, and I hope you've been doing great since our last episode. And guys, if you're loving the show, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And if you're really loving the show, leave us a 5-star review. I love reading the reviews and getting all the feedback for the show. And if you haven't followed me yet on social media, you can at the official Justin Ford. Again, at the official Justin Ford. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and also here on YouTube. I've got an incredible guest in the studio today. But before we get into that, I do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Nextdoor Lending. Nextdoor Lending is a team of professionals that believe everyone should be treated as if they lived next door. The founders and team members have more than 150 years of combined loan experience helping clients all over the country choose the best loan program to help you accomplish your goals. Nextdoor Lending is currently licensed in 26 states and has a team of over 100 loan officers specializing in helping you get the best rate and terms. And so whether you're looking to refinance your home or you're looking to purchase your next home, call my friends over at Nextdoor Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. You know, anytime I bring guests on the show, as you know, it's a lot of times it's for a reason. It's for a purpose to impact the listeners, those of you that are listening, inspire you, challenge you, motivate you, and really give you just a great, a great story. And, anytime that we think of who we should bring on the show, we think of incredible people like my guest today. Welcome to the show, Andrew Pepper.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Yes. So Andrew is a real estate agent from the Sarasota, Florida area. And I've had a chance to get to know you, Andrew, over the last few years. And, when we met through Glover U. And what I love about the Glover U platform is I've been able to build some incredible relationships and build some great friendships for the last 5 years. And you're definitely one of them. Having you on the show was definitely something Joy and I talked about, and definitely excited to have you today. How's everything going?
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I appreciate you. Definitely super blessed to have met you through Glover and to learn from you and the rest of the family there at Glover U. So,
Absolutely.
everything's great. It's real estate is incredible.
Yeah.
Every year since I went full time has been my best year ever, and this one's on track to do the same. So, just super blessed to be out there serving people.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that today. Andrew, Andrew's an incredible real estate agent kicking butt down in Sarasota, Florida, but he's doing so much more. And one of the things that I love about you, Andrew, is, you love to give back. You love to make a difference. You're a believer. You love the Lord. You're an incredible real estate agent, and you're also a veteran. And so what I'd love to talk about today is really your story of how things started. And one of the things that I actually found out recently that I wasn't aware of, that you got into the military you joined the military just a few days before 9/11. When you were growing up, was that something that you had aspired to do, was to join the military, or at what point did you decide that you were going to join the military?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of funny. I've learned in my life to never say never, because I probably said my entire childhood up until my junior year of high school that I would never join the military.
Yeah.
And in between my junior and senior year, I went to what's called Missouri Boys State. It's kind of a leadership / government camp that basically is geared around service, military, law enforcement, government positions. And I fell in love with the idea of serving my country. And there were kind of two opportunities: either join the military or get my criminal justice degree and go into law enforcement. And so I went and took the ASVAB, checked out some opportunities with the military. I always wanted to fly, and got the opportunity to go be an avionics electronics technician on F-18 Hornets, and have some fun on the Enterprise CVN 65. So if you guys have seen the original Top Gun, the first boat, I say boat because I'm in the Navy, that's what we call them, was on that huge aircraft carrier with 5,000 of my best friends over serving the country. So pretty cool
Wow.
to, it's honestly the best thing that I've ever done. It really kick-started my career and took my just took my life to another level. See the world, get out of a little small town. Nothing wrong with it. I love where I grew up, and I love being out on acreage and being in the country. But my high school class had 14 people in it, so I always joke with people and say I graduated in the top 10.
That's awesome. I love it. And, I have this, I don't want to say it's like this secret, you know, thing. I'm not even gonna call it a fetish, but I have this like secret passion, and not even a secret passion. I love fighter jets. Like I have this thing for fighter jets that I think they're some of the most incredible things, especially when one flies over you and the sky rumbles and you can feel it in your body. How awesome was it to be on one of those aircraft carriers, seeing those planes take off? And have you ridden in one before?
So I have not ridden in a fighter jet, but I've ridden in a lot of helicopters.
Yeah,
And So, I mean, on the flight deck, it's honestly, outside of riding in one, probably the best adrenaline rush you could ever be on. Being right there on the deck. I was the last person. If you watch Top Gun, the white shirts, the troubleshooter slot checkers. I'm the last person to plug up to the plane and troubleshoot the plane before it takes off if there's any issues to help fix it. And last person with the hands on the aircraft as it pulls up on the catapult. And then they do their wipeout and check their flight surfaces, and we give them the thumbs up for the shooter to launch them off the deck. So, I mean, you're literally right there in the jet blast. And when certain planes take off, if your teeth are together, I mean, they rattle together. So, to be a 18, 19-year-old kid in charge of a $35 million aircraft, and to be watching, the childhood dream was the F-14 Tomcat for me.
right.
My first deployment, I got to deploy with those guys, and just an incredible aircraft, an incredible experience, and a lot of fun.
Wow.
It was very, very cool.
Yeah, when I was a kid, man, when Top Gun first came out, me and my buddy, we used to pretend, that we were Goose and Maverick, and we would ride our bikes around the street and pretend we were fighter jets, out there doing the Top Gun stuff. And ever since I was a kid and that movie came out, I kind of fell in love with fighter jets. And anytime I see one or anytime I hear one, like I get goosebumps because they're so amazing. And so, man, that's so incredible that you had that experience early on. And so tell us about, joining, the Navy 3 weeks prior to 9/11. And what was that like? I mean, you're a young kid, you're just going into the military, and then boom, 9/11 hits. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, so I went up there to MEPS and took the ASVAB and did really well, and kind of really had carte blanche choice of whatever I wanted to do. I could go do nukes, and obviously that pays really well when you get out of the military. Or I could do something a little more fun. I always wanted to be a pilot. So my full intent when I joined was to go in, get my education, get my GI Bill, jump out and get my degree, and then go back in and fly fighter jets. And so long story short, I ended up breaking the C5 in my neck, destroying my right shoulder, breaking my collarbone, breaking my back on a vacation,
Oh, wow.
which kind of ended the dream of being a pilot, uh, at least of manned aircraft. I did get to end up being a drone pilot and a UAV pilot for the Marine Corps and the Army
Wow.
overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I at least kind of got to fulfill that dream of being a pilot, but it was, yeah, I mean, traveling to go from a little town of 14 people and then get to go travel the world and go to Italy and Spain and England. I've been to Dubai 9 times. I've been to, I've seen Egypt. I've seen a lot of Amsterdam, been to some amazing places around the world, and it would have never happened. I mean, you got a single mom working at a grocery store, that raised you, you're not going to go travel the world like that unless you get really lucky or join the
Right.
military. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What was it like when 9/11 hit? What was it, what was the vibe? What was the mindset? What was the energy, the overall feeling in the military once 9/11 hit?
So I joined what's called the delayed entry program. And I was actually sitting, so that means I'm kind of like inactive reserve during my senior year of high school. So it was literally like, 3 weeks into my senior year, and I was sitting in an electronics class, and we watched live on TV the second one, the second plane hit the tower, and
Yep.
uh, I literally wanted to get up and leave right then, right, and just skip my entire senior year and
Mm.
just go. So I didn't get to deploy immediately. I actually kind of had to. I joke and say suffer through my senior year, but I got done with my senior year, and my parents, you know, we went on a quick like 7 day cruise in the Caribbean, and I came back and went straight to basic training to boot camp. So we always joked and said I went from heaven to hell in the same week because you're on a cruise ship getting weighted on hand and foot, and then you're on an aircraft carrier hoping you're going to live.
Yep.
So, but it was no, I mean, it was the best thing. It was the best decision. I was more pumped. I was excited when I joined the military, and after 9/11 happened, I was more driven and more ready to go than ever before. I mean, that's you never want to go to war, but if you're going to serve your country and be in the military, I can tell you the best time we had was when we were deployed in combat. When you're just training or preparing or practicing, it's not as exciting. And
Right.
I mean, that sounds weird, but it's the adrenaline's different, when it's inert weapons or it's, just training. I mean, it's the same thing with sports, right? Like practice isn't fun, but the game's fun. The
Right.
competition's fun.
Yeah.
What you're there for is fun. And, so to actually be boots on the ground and, be over there knowing that you're protecting your country and making the world a safer place, that's uh, that's when you realize you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, I love that. And we appreciate your service. How many years did you actually serve total in the military?
I did 4 years active duty, 4 years reserve, um, 3 years as a contractor. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. So you start off in the military, and I know a lot of guys go into the military and have a whole career out of it, right? They stay in the military their entire career and, retire in the military, get great benefits and even retire early. What transitioned you from the military into real estate? And did you go right from the military into the into real estate, or did you do something in between the military and real estate?
yeah. No, I got out and I just wanted to get a decent job and go to college and get my degree and go right back in and fly fighter jets.
Yeah.
I got out. I worked for L3 Communications and Boeing for just shy of 10 years, and like I said, I was about 6 months from getting my degree, and I had that snow skiing accident and tore myself up. And then, kind of fast forward through all that mess, I bought my first home and had an incredible experience. And my grandparents were in real estate in Missouri for I think like 42, 43 years.
Wow. So you come
And
you come you come from the background of real estate then.
yeah, I mean, I grew up, going out with granddad and showing farms and, hanging out in his office, and, you know, kind of always around the lingo and the rural real estate, the farms and the land and the small town real estate. And so I think maybe he planted those seeds when I was younger. But after
Yeah.
I bought my first house, I really enjoyed it. And when we relocated to Florida, I really honestly had no intent of getting my real estate license in Florida because it was not reciprocal with Texas.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through a couple different agents, and as well as I do that not every agent gets the same training, unfortunately.
Right.
And we were super blessed. I was at the number 2 market center in the world, in Texas, so I got really good training. And one of the best things I think I got out of there was the being able to analyze a market and know what a property is truly worth in today's market,
Yeah.
and being able to see the shift in the markets before I'm not going to say anybody else, but definitely one of the first people to see the market shifting. And I think it definitely helps when you have a lot of inventory and you're listing property. You do see it first because you know what those offers are that are coming in, and you know if if you're getting bidding wars and selling above list price, or if you're getting list price, or if people are trying to beat you up and get you under. So
Yeah.
you get to see that market shift first before anybody else, which allows you to kind of analyze the property ahead of anybody else and get your clients a better deal. And these agents that I was working with when we moved to Florida, they just didn't have the market analysis that I wanted and needed. So I looked at my wife. I was like, I got to get my license and go full time real estate. So the rest is history.
I love that. So I didn't even know that about you. So you started real estate in Texas?
Yes, sir. Yeah, in South Lake. So it's like Dallas, Fort Worth. I lived in Fort Worth.
Nice. I wasn't even aware of that. That's something that I just learned today. Now, are you still dually licensed? Are you licensed in Florida and in Texas?
I right now I have my Texas license inactive.
Hmm.
I felt that it's I'm not going to say it's a disservice. Maybe some people can do it at a high level, but I think you really, for the most part, need to be boots on ground and be ingrained in the area at a high level.
Yeah.
And granted, I know a lot more now than I did 5 years ago, so maybe I could do it now. But I just think I'm more than happy to refer it to a full time agent in that area,
Yep.
and me stay here in Florida. So
Yeah, because I'm licensed here in Michigan and in Florida, and I tried to do the same thing, and it was hard, And obviously, if you had somebody, let's say, on your team, or you had somebody in another area that you could have doing deals for you or handing stuff off to, but yeah, my goal was always to sell real estate when in Michigan when it's nice, and go to Florida when it's not. And it's hard when you have kids and you have a family and you have responsibilities, and so yeah, that dually licensed can be tough. And so again, I didn't know that's pretty cool that you started in Texas. So you moved over to Florida. What brought you to Florida?
yeah, so ironically, my wife and I both kind of had single moms that worked at grocery stores, so our grandmothers played a huge role in our life. And one great thing about our company is we're God and family first. And grandma, long story short, was having some blood pressure issues. So we decided to quit our really good jobs with really good benefits in Texas and move to Florida. And so we moved into grandma's garage and lived in her garage for a little over a year while we started my wife's mobile veterinarian business. So her and I started a mobile vet business, huge animal lovers. And lived in her garage, and we bought I got my license. So that was, let me see, we moved out here May of 17. I got my license in 18, and we bought our first property, which I'm actually studying in right now in the office, June of 18, on a little under 6 acres, about 4 miles from the beach. So
Wow.
we have quite a few animals here. And then 2 years ago, we bought another 35 acres that we have animals on. So we got 42 animals right now.
Wow. That's awesome. Do you guys take care of those animals yourself, or do you have anybody helping you?
Yeah, I say I help. My wife probably does about 90% of it. She's crazy. But no, she pretty much does it like Monday through Friday mornings, just because I can't get her to, she doesn't want to get out of bed as early as I would to help her in the morning. So I help her in the evenings during the week, and then we kind of tag team it on the weekend, or do it together on the weekends. So but yeah, it's just her and I mainly. And then if I'm at a work conference or we go out of town for a little vacation or something, her mom and or sister or some friends help us out. Because as you can imagine, you know, at a minimum, the 6 dogs and the 6 horses and the cats need some, daily attention. But then the donkeys and the sheep and the cows, you can get away with a little more time with them. But they take care of all of them, so it's pretty cool.
Wow, 42 animals. Yeah, that's something that you got to attend to daily. That's not just something that you can do here and there. So that's awesome as well. And what's funny is I've never asked you the question, but I now know why. Usually when you know somebody's from Florida, you don't really see too many Floridians wearing cowboy hats. But I know that's a signature for you because, anytime you come to the Glover U conferences, you're always wearing a cowboy hat, and it looks really good on you. I think there's some people cowboy hats look good on, and then some that don't. Because, like, if you put a cowboy hat on me, I just look like I look goofy. So, like, and I like it. I'd love to have a nice cowboy hat and some cowboy boots and just go to a country concert. My wife took me to my first, country concert last year, and I loved it. But is the cowboy hat because you're from Texas, or because tell me about the cowboy hat story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if there's much of a story other than just growing up in the sticks in
Yeah.
the country, and if you're out, like in Texas, we helped a friend on his ranch. We lived there in the guest house, and it was 3,300 acre cattle ranch with 1,000 head of Key Angus cattle. And
Wow.
if you're out there checking cattle in the hot sun, you need something to
Cover
cover
you.
up your
Yeah.
ears and your face and everything else. So I think it's just kind of natural and it's comfortable and it's fun and
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah.
I
I don't
love it.
know. We'll have to get you one.
I
You'll love it.
know.
But
I
yeah, it's
know. I know. And I'd
I
love
don't know.
to.
There's not really a story behind it. I mean, this one's a fun story. I was telling Johnny that I put my largest deal under contract last year, and so that was kind of my celebration. It was a 20 shoot, I don't know, a little bit north of $23.5 million deal. So I kind of went and rewarded myself this beautiful custom made cowboy hat. Uh, so yeah, that was fun.
I love it.
Hopefully we'll get that one closed. It's got a long due diligence period. It's hopefully we'll get that one closed this year or next year.
Oh
But
yeah. No, that's
oh yeah,
awesome. That's awesome. So you've been selling now for how many years have you been licensed?
been licensed since 2014. Been
2014.
licensed here in Florida since 2018, and went full time here in Florida February of 19. So just passed my 5 year mark full time here in Florida
Yep.
last month.
That's awesome. And anytime you move into a new market, what's awesome is, really no matter where you go, as long as you know the principles and the systems and the techniques of real estate, you should be able to, succeed in any market. How was it transitioning from Texas to Florida? What are some of the differences that you saw? Was it hard, getting planted and started and building out your business in a brand new state? What did that look like?
Yeah, I feel like the first, I think I was just in my own way. I think the first 3 months was probably a little rough. And then I just started doing a ton of open houses and it kind of hockey sticked from there. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on your market and what's going on. Like, obviously, if you got into real estate during COVID and you couldn't do open houses, that wouldn't have worked. But luckily, February of 19 and all of 2019, I was pretty much able to do as many open houses as I wanted. So
Yeah.
it was a good first year. I think I helped like 26 families in like 10 and a half months.
Wow.
Just brand new to the area, knowing nobody. So that was good.
That's phenomenal. I mean, you're definitely a hard worker and obviously, open to exploring different ways to do business. And I think that's obviously, how you got involved with Glover U was because, you obviously, how did you first get involved with Glover U? Did you go to a half-day event? How did you hear about us?
Yeah, I was honestly, it was towards the end of COVID or at the end of COVID, and I was really missing the face-to-face interactions. And Jeff was the first one to put a live event together with some protective measures and
Yep.
some safeguards. And so it was up in Orlando at Champions Gate,
Yep.
and that's yeah, I was just looking for the face-to-face interaction again. So that's where I started.
Wow. I didn't know that. So 2021 coming to the big event was your first exposure to Glover U?
It was. Yeah, I mean, I had heard of Jeff speak in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and ironically had heard Greg Erlanger speak in 2019, and I didn't even, really realize who they were, that they were tied with the organization,
Yep.
or didn't realize Greg was until I got involved with it. So
Yeah.
super fortunate to be learning from you and the number one team and number one agent in Ohio,
Yeah.
and of course Jeff. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
powerhouse organization for sure.
Yep. So you came to that Glover U event in Orlando, and I remember that was like our first one back after COVID, and it was like same thing for you. It was just good to be back in person, and it was good to really connect with others, right? Because it was that period of time where everybody was just kind of like separate. Did you and I personally meet? I believe it was. Did you come to the prayer circle in 2021? Is that how we first met?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
So you came to the prayer circle and, we connected and I remember that. And, one of the things that I started to learn about you is not only were you a believer, but you ended up joining the prospecting boot camp, and you went through our prospecting boot camp. What made you make the decision to join the prospecting boot camp? Because I know prospecting is one of those things that a lot of people, don't like to do or don't want to do. But you joined, and through that 4 months, you ended up taking I think 17 or 18 listings. What made you join prospecting boot camp, and how did you really take hold of that and create the success that you did?
I think there's a handful of reasons I did it. The big driver back then was that I was working on growing a team, and I wanted to be able to have that tool set in my box and
Yeah.
have that experience. It's hard to, well, it's impossible to teach somebody something that you don't know how to do, but it's really hard to ask somebody to do something that you can't do or don't want to do.
Yep.
So I just wanted to prove to myself, I wanted to build that skill set and, see how it would go. And like you said, 18 listings in 16 weeks, it went pretty well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was fun. It really flipped my business from being buyer heavy to being listing heavy. So I went from probably 70% buyers to 70% listings.
Yeah.
So that was pretty wild. And then, um, now I've purposely, and I don't know, maybe this is silly, but I've purposely focused on trying to keep it kind of a 50-50 business.
Yeah.
Um, but now with the new stuff that's coming out,
Right.
we'll see what happens in July.
Yep.
Maybe I'll switch to 100% listings, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And speaking of prospecting, one of the tools and resources that I use to sell on average 10 listings a month is RedX, and I want you to hear all about it. Are you a real estate agent looking to sell more homes this year and make more money but not sure how? The answer is simple. You just need to talk to more people. Being a real estate coach and teaching thousands of real estate agents all over North America and personally selling on average 100 homes per year, the thing top producing real estate agents have in common is that they use systems and technology to get in front of more people and have more conversations about real estate. And the system I use every day to ensure my success in real estate is RedX. RedX is my secret weapon for success in this competitive world of real estate that allows me to take 7 to 10 listings on average every month. RedX provides me with the highest quality homeowner lead data, phone numbers, and industry-leading communication tools to connect with homeowners actively looking to sell, giving you the edge to be the first agent in the door. RedX's triple line power dialer will boost your conversations, connecting you seamlessly with more motivated homeowners ready to sell, allowing you to leave pre-recorded voicemails effortlessly for those that don't answer. But that's not all. Say goodbye to time-consuming neighborhood farming. RedX provides you with phone numbers and addresses for homeowners in your area in seconds, making prospecting a breeze. How about investors and landlords, pre-foreclosures, for sale by owners and expireds? RedX is your all-in-one prospecting solution. Don't miss out on the opportunities waiting for you. Take the first step towards increased production, more listings, and long-term success. Visit sellmorewithredx.com right now to start your prospecting journey with the most accurate contact information on the market. And because you're a listener of my podcast, RedX will waive your $150 setup fee. Go to sellmorewithredx.com and start selling more homes today. I think it's like what you said, as real estate agents, there's so many different ways to do business. You started doing open houses. It helped you sell 20 plus units your first year, which is incredible. There's obviously a lot of different ways to work with buyers. But as you know, because you learned this in the prospecting boot camp, and, you were up in Detroit with us not too long ago at Prospecting Live, is, when you are proactive in having conversations with people every day about real estate, you're going to naturally get more opportunities because you're having more conversations. And obviously I always speak about your testimony. When it comes to prospecting, here you got somebody like you, Andrew, who really didn't, prospect for sale by owners and expireds and make phone calls. You join the class and you just do the work and the results show up. And, I think one of the reasons why is because you also invest in yourself, from a leadership standpoint, from a mindset standpoint, and obviously, from a kingdom standpoint. And, one of the things that I love about you that I've been following you over the last couple of years is, you're also involved in the John Maxwell organization. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been learning from John at least 13, going on 13 years.
Yeah.
I first saw him in my church and was blown away by him. Um, and then that was 2011. Yeah, so this will be 13 years.
Wow.
4 years later, or 20, yeah, I don't know. I'm losing track of the year that I met him or something the first time. But when we moved here, I got to go see him again live in 2019. And that's when I decided, yes, I'm doing full-time real estate. And it's actually still here on my desk because it's a great book. If you guys haven't read the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, start with it and start growing and start learning from Dr. Maxwell. He's an incredible leader and man of
Yeah.
God, and he's going to take your life and your business to levels you never thought were possible. And yeah, I'm super passionate about giving back. And I mean, it's not ours, none of it's ours, it's all God's. And
Yeah.
what can we do to glorify him and just
Amen.
spread his word and his love for people that need him, and
Yep.
we all need him.
Yeah.
But I ran across John, and he's blessed my life, and just taking it to another level. And so yeah, I actually got to go to the first IMC with John. I had been following him for 12 years, and I walked in to I don't know how many tables are in there, probably a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And there are no coincidences. And there was a table with a table number 12, and that's where I was seated. And there was a guy named Jesus that did something pretty special with 12 guys, and I just kind of laughed. And I was sitting there with my John Maxwell Leadership Bible and just spending some time before John got his. He has an optional like church service. He has an optional service that at his conference that he recommends you come to, but he doesn't require anyone to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, most people or everyone goes. And I was sitting there, and he had started a leadership curriculum for children, and anything to do with children or local veterans or local community giving back. I'm passionate about. I love it, especially like first responders and law enforcement. And so he's taken his leadership curriculum and putting it in high schools, and Lord knows we need that.
Yeah.
And you could sponsor a child for $52. You could sponsor a table of 10 for $520. And I don't share this for any other reason to just say, give God the glory of what he's blessed your life with, and just trust him. Because at the time I probably had about $3,000 in my checking account. And I grabbed my Amex, and for $12,000, you could sponsor an entire district. And I just trusted God. I threw it on my Amex, and I kid you not, like that day or the next day, I did one of the largest deals of my career that was just shy of $2 million.
Wow.
And because of that donation, I got invited to have dinner with John and his wife, Margaret, and with the top 50 donors to his foundation. And so, if you just trust God with what he blesses you with, he's going to give you relationships and give you education and give you skills that, he wants you to go bless people with. And so I'm super blessed that, he put John in my life, and that he gave John the skills to share God's word, because that's what he does. You ask him where he gets this stuff from, and he's like, he's telling all these Fortune CEO 500 guys, you don't want to know. And they're like, no, I want to know. And he's like, everything I teach is out of the Bible.
Yeah.
And he says, challenge me. Give me one leadership principle, and I'll show you where it is in the Bible. So I think if you're not spending time in God's word, at least get John Maxwell's Leadership Bible and spend some time in those leadership principles, and start with the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and just start growing yourself and growing your heart and your mind, and just see what God does with it. So
yeah, so powerful. And I believe that is, when you focus on, growing yourself, everything else is going to grow, right? Oftentimes, when people do join the prospecting boot camp, or they get into real estate or any aspect of life, it's the mindset that causes people to either not move forward or to move forward and succeed. And what I love, Andrew, is that you're grounded and rooted, in the Lord, and that plays out into every aspect of your life. And so how long have you been born again, and when did you get saved?
Yeah, so that's fun. On my 18th birthday, I got baptized at my local church,
Amen.
and I was always in church, right? And I was always around it, but I grew up a little bit confused because my parents were divorced. So every other weekend, or almost every other weekend, I was with my dad. And my mom's side is all Catholic, and my dad's side is all Protestant. My grandfather's a Baptist pastor. And so if you want to really confuse somebody,
Yeah.
send them to Catholic church this weekend and a Protestant church the next. But thank God I was just getting fed God's word and getting those seeds planted.
Amen.
And there was a lady named Lois McCain, who was 94 years old, I think my senior year, but she ran a thing called CLEA, Christ's Love in Action. And it was an after school program you know, after middle school and elementary school and high school. They dropped you off at this little community church in a tiny town. And she played a huge role in planting seeds in me from third grade to my senior year, right? And then we were in I'm trying to think. Uh, I'm drawing a blank on what the high school, the Christian athletes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
I
geez.
can't think of what it's called, but
I
I was
know.
involved
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that.
yeah. Fellowship of Christian Athletes,
So,
FCA.
yeah, FCA,
Yep.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So
Yep.
I was always involved in around God's word and around religion. Though the weird thing, the time that it really changed, honestly, was March of '09. I ran across or maybe summer of '09. I'd have to look back. It was 2009. I ran across a little church on the side of the road. I was coming home from drone training, and I was learning to fly a drone called Scan Eagle. And I pulled in, and they weren't having a church service, but they were doing a book study, and the book was called "1 Month to Live: 30 Days to a No Regrets Life."
Hmm.
Now that's kind of ironic, right? Because I'm recovering from a broken neck and destroyed shoulder and broken collarbone and broken back, and you've got a surgeon that's telling a 25-year-old military vet that was shredded before he got, almost killed, that you're never going to do a pull up or push up or dip again. And most people wouldn't care because they don't do pull ups or push ups anyways.
Right.
But I was pretty hard headed, and I just didn't want to believe that I was physically done at 25 years old. And on the second day of this book, it it basically says, your life's a roller coaster. You're gonna have ups and downs, financially, emotionally, relationally, with work, whatever. I mean, I've been divorced. I've been laid off from Boeing on my almost my 10-year anniversary. Literally, my last day at the Boeing company was my birthday. Happy birthday.
Wow.
And at the time, you're like, man, this is the worst birthday present ever. But now, years later, you're like, wow, that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Amen.
So this roller coaster, it basically just said, pick an image to remind you, no matter what, that God's with you and He loves you and you're going to get through this. And I picked an eagle, and I go to work. Well, I woke up the next morning, and I grabbed my Bible and I dropped it open. And I got to Isaiah 40. And when I didn't know this scripture before I read this. And when I got to verses 28 through 31, I about fell off the couch. And the gist of it that stuck with me, that those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength and soar high on wings like eagles. And I was like, wow, all right, God, like you got my attention. And that was honestly the day that it went from religion to a relationship with a creator and father and someone that truly loved me and was there for me. And I went to work that day, and much like today, it was pouring rain. And so we weren't going to fly the drone, the Scan Eagle. And they said, look, if you're done with your FAA certification, your ground school, you guys can go home. So I love photography. I went home and I grabbed my camera, and I Googled just a cool place to photograph. I didn't know I was in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. And I found the Battle of Shiloh. And if you guys go to my YouTube channel and look up the video, this changed my life. You'll see the photos I'm about to tell you about. But I was out there taking pictures of the cannons and the cabins and the tombstones and, the rain and the rivers and everything. And I was out there for quite a while, and the rain stopped, and this eagle came screaming over the top of me. And I was just like, wow, all right, God. So all of this was within a 24-hour period. And so, I was baptized when I was born as a Catholic, as a baby, and then I was baptized in a Protestant church as an 18-year-old because I truly did believe that Jesus was my Lord and Savior. And that I was going to spend eternity in heaven. But you asked me when it really changed, and I think it changed at that moment when God punched me in the mouth and said, "Hey, wake up! Like
Yeah.
you're special, and I want you to go do something." And so, you fast forward a little bit later, and I just trusted with him. I kept pushing myself, and within 18 months of that injury, I was doing more pull-ups and more push-ups than I'd ever done in my life. So what happened? Those who trust in the Lord renewed their strength and soared high
Wow.
on wings like eagles. And now I feel like it's my duty to glorify Him and, you know, go help as many people as I can with whatever skills I have, and
Yeah.
to give back and to just share what He's done with my life. So
So powerful. And as you're telling the story, I see the eagles that are behind you on your shelf there, which I'm sure are a daily reminder to you. And you're an inspiration, Andrew, not only to me, but our whole entire Glover U community, and even beyond that, which I'm sure you are in your own community. For those that are listening right now, Andrew, that that are in the business, or may want to send a referral down to the Sarasota area, or reach out to you, to learn more about your story, or just connect, because one of the things that you said that you're passionate about, and if you want, you can tell the story about the flag behind you, but you serve veterans, you give back. You were very involved after the hurricane hit your area. You made a big impact and raised a ton of money and supplies to help people. How can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you?
yeah, thank you. My personal cell is 941-400-8227. My email is pepper@kw.com. And I think all my social media links are going to be below.
Yep.
But yeah, I would love to connect. Love helping people, with life or real estate or
Yep.
investing or whatever. But yeah, the flag up there, I've been a part of Homes for Our Troops. We build veterans homes that have been severely injured. We, they've lost their legs, they've lost their arms, they're paralyzed, they've lost their vision, and we custom build the home to their abilities. And they're beautiful, beautiful homes. And last year we had an annual golf tournament. It was our 10th year. And we raised just under $180,000 at the golf tournament last year. So that was
Wow.
incredible. And that American flag up there, a veteran made it, which is special in its own case. And then it was on the silent auction, and the brigadier general and I were bidding against each other, and we see who won. Uh, I say that jokingly and humbly, but I the veteran that we built the home for, he signed it, and all the veterans that we built homes for that were there at the ceremony signed it, and then of course the brigadier general signed it. So
Yeah.
that every time I come in here, it just reminds me, that we're here for a purpose, and that we're here to love and serve people, and that God needs us to do His work, and people need us,
Yeah.
and
Amen.
the eagle on the right, that white eagle, was actually from my first mentor and broker and fellow Eagle Scout. He gave me that, and then the one below it, the clear one, um, I got selected. We have a little over 500 agents in our brokerage here. I got selected as a cultural icon in 2023, and it was just bittersweet that it was an eagle. So that was super cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love eagles, man. And the coolest thing I have on that shelf is that huge Bible. If you guys want to know a godly woman, look up Mo Anderson. That was her personal family Bible, and she earmarked all of her favorite scriptures, and that Bible's from the 1800s. So if you've never seen a Bible from the 1800s, if you come down and visit me, definitely take a look at that, because
Wow.
it's chilling. It's super cool. So
Wow.
very special.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining the show today. For those that are listening right now, definitely reach out to Andrew. Just an incredible human being, incredible real estate agent. And if you want to learn, like you said, he does investing, does a lot of great stuff in the community, serves veterans, serves people, serves the community, and is an awesome brother in the Lord. Definitely reach out to him. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Love y'all.
Amen. Love you too, buddy. Guys, feel free to share this episode with anybody that you know. Share it on your social media. Feel free to send the link to somebody. This is definitely why I bring guests on the show, so that you can hear their story, how they're giving back, and how they're making a difference. And so if you love the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Feel free, again, to reach out to us through social media. You can follow me at the official Justin Ford, again, at the official Justin Ford. And there's, just incredible stories that we plan on bringing to you throughout this year. And if you have an incredible story and you want to be featured on the show, definitely reach out to me, Justin at JustinFordUnleashed.com. Do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is not just a sponsor of our show, but this is the mortgage team that we entrust all of our buyers with. And so they actually just crossed over 1,000 5-star reviews, 1,000 5-star reviews, a perfect A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If you are a buyer and you're looking to purchase a home this year and you want to get pre-approved, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. If you're looking to refinance your home, take some cash out, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. And if you're a real estate agent looking for an incredible mortgage partner licensed in 26 states, call my friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. Two things that I always like to leave you with. Number one, it's not how you start. What matters is how you finish. And then number two, with God, all things are possible. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.